Good evening, and for the final time, welcome to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral, getting ready and raring to go for the last day of glorious Goodwood then, with a big Saturday of action ready and raring to go. If you've had a tough week though, well, I'm not sure it's going to get much easier, that's for sure, because we've got the Stewards Cup, of course, taking centre stage tomorrow. But don't worry, you can still back a winner in the consolation race, perhaps. But today, well, it was quite the afternoon, wasn't it? Johan made a mockery of the draw. Highfield Princess made a mockery of her rivals. Epictetus upset the apple cart. Then Hamish put the apples back in. But it was quite the afternoon at glorious Goodwood. And it was so good that, again, I've been left all on my own. Or have I? I'm joined in the studio by, yeah, my only friend in the world. There you go. What do you fancy tomorrow, mate? Yeah, absolutely. Cracking chance. Well, can't wait to get some winners from the horse's mouth. It is live and interactive, of course, so make sure you like that stream and get involved on the chat. Good evening to Darren Herring, Keith Hulse, Ryan Gledo, Rob Dixon, Stevens99, Jim Stanton, and various others already getting involved. And a very good evening to Mr. Paul Kealy, who, look, mate, I love having you in the studio, but I can't help but feel that in not coming in here all week, you've had the best week, what, for 12 months, perhaps? You rattled him in left, right and centre. I love you to bits, but never come back.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted not to.
You just have to do it from Bognor Regis from now on, mate. Maybe the sea air suits you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking of moving down here. We'll almost double the attendance in Bognor, I think. It's a very quiet town these days. But no, it's been a great week. Got out of trouble today, really, with Balance playing the last. But he got the job done. So, yeah, another winning day. So, yeah, good fun.
Yeah, all good. What did you make of the feature races? Highfield Princess again. I mean, she should have done that really on her best form.
Yeah, she should have done. She was just perfectly entitled to. I don't think it told us anything new about her, did it? But yeah, she's just very good, isn't she?
She is. She is very good indeed. Paul Kealy knocking in winners left, right, and centre. Tom, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I don't get as many chances as him, do I? I've got to do the only 4 blooming races at the start of the card. I should have had Royal Rhyme or whatever it is called, but I don't think I've missed any that I should have had. Maybe Temporize today, but you know, I'm sitting there thinking that I haven't missed that many. You know, sometimes you go through a Royal Ascot thinking I should have had 5 winners and I didn't. I'm actually sitting there thinking I can't think of too many that I actually fancied that have won. I mean, you get lot of short prices in the TV races at Goodwood we've had this week, haven't we? You know, your Highfield Princesses, your Paddingtons, your Bandits, or whatever it was called. So it's not as, you know, my excuse is coming out. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. No problems whatsoever. And by far the highlight was Highfield Princess. I thought she was brilliant and right back to her best, if she was ever away from her best.
Yes, that is true. I guess she was away from her best conditions last time out, but not necessarily her best performance. But yeah, John Quinn sent 3 sprinters to the Glorious Goodwood, and they've all won, Tom. And the other horse they sent was Breeze, who got done on the line in the Group 3 as well. So it's been quite a good week for the Malton trainer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's still the case, but I know Jason Hart was top of the jockeys rankings. If you could have got probably 6 billion to 1 about that at the start of the week, fair play to him. I mean, I know, you know what I think about Goodwood. I think it's pretty moderate quality stuff, but nonetheless, fair play. Their sprinters are out of their skins, and they've got a good chance in the Stewards tomorrow. But firstly, got to say, Ross, I thought we took the mickey a little bit out about your selection yesterday. Epictatus, egg on face, totally. Very many congratulations, sir. Great selection.
I appreciate that, Tom. Yeah, it was pretty impressive, really. Like I said, it's the videos, it's the notes, mate, isn't it? You know, that's the only way to get an edge these days.
Well, I think we sort of tried to put people off Nostrum a bit, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely tried to put them off Nostrum.
You know, I'm upset. You know, I've been writing for weeks that it wasn't as good a performance as everyone was trying to make it out to be. Got the wrong one. I think Docklands had no chance the way he was ridden from stall 7, but Epictatus got the perfect trail into the race, and you were spot on. He is a miler.
He is a miler indeed. Ride of the day, though, had to be James Doyle, didn't it? Oh, the biggest draw race of the week. Well, unless all the ones on the inside missed the break and everyone else goes, yes, why Mr. Doyle, of course. Please track into a perfect position.
One of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my entire life, that. I mean, every horse drawn low, including, you know, Dutch Decoy was nearly in front on the near side. And everyone knows what Dutch Decoy does. He's last in every other race. Now, they didn't go slow. Don't get me wrong, they didn't go slow, but they just, the ones on the near side gave up their advantage, didn't they? To the one, to Johan and Darkness. And you know, that's what happens. It was hard to make up ground today, wasn't it? On the round course, it looked like. So, there we go. Weird. It was weird, but fair play. You know, he's done it before, Johan, hasn't he? Won the Lincoln when no one fancied him. Yeah,
his mile 4 on soft ground, especially when after a bit of a break, is very good. And again, I think, you know, if he'd have been drawn 10 or lower, he'd have been half the price, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. And he would have been interesting. Because on the Lincoln form, that was rock solid form, and we clearly know he goes well fresh. But, you know, this is why the draw kills me. I hate it. I absolutely hate draw races and draw tracks, because as soon as you start thinking one thing, exactly the opposite happens, and then you're left with looking a bit of a fool. But there we go. We'll be back on the low numbers again next year and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And a shout out to Temporize as well. I mean, he looks a real buy for Sid Hosey, doesn't he? I don't know if they planned on sending him over sticks, but given how well he stays on the flat in bad ground, he could be mopping up Ascot handicap hurdles and novice hurdles and whatnot over the winter. But Lewis Knowles joining us once again. And what did you think of the penultimate day of Glorious Goodwood?
Yeah, it was a good day, wasn't it? I think tough to find winners, but it was a good day. Highfield Princess, as the guys say, probably the highlight. Not my highlight, though. The traders did let me pick the boost yesterday, and I picked out Highfield Princess. And I think we went 11 to 10, and the traders said that one was very popular. So, not my finest hour, that one. But they've let me go again here, so we better kick off with today's main boost. So, they've let me have free wind, which is tomorrow's hot pot, on the last day of the Lillie Langtry. So we're going 11 to 8 from 6 to 5. Up to a maximum of £20. So hopefully that one doesn't win, or it might be my P45 over the weekend.
Have you picked those prize boosts because you fancy the horse, or because you want to take them up? Like, are you a good judge or a bad judge? Basically, is what I'm saying today.
Well, I like to think I'm a good judge, but maybe history's not on my side. I would say I'm a bad judge, but no, I'm picking them because I'm a man of the people, and I think these are the horses that the people want to be on and want the boosted price. So yeah, I'm a man of the people, really.
There you go. Fair enough. Also, a big shout. I mean, like I said last night, I said that Matt Polly got in touch on Twitter and said, can I get paid to tip losers? And I said, no, but you can do them for free. He sent a preview for every race. He tipped Epictetus. He said the Gatekeeper and Johan are big each way options in the mile. They finished first and second. Highfield Princess well in. Hamish difficult to oppose. And Dancing in Paris in the last. So, Tom, if you want to take Goodwood off next year, we've got a replacement, I think.
I would love to take it off, but they won't let me. But maybe after this year's performance, I might get the holiday in August that I crave every year. Don't
worry, mate. It'll be York soon. That's more. And we've got sprints, of course, tomorrow. And we know how much you love a sprint. We'll get to them in just a second and get stuck into the final day of Glorious Goodwood after this. There we go then. Let's get ready and raring to go with Glorious Goodwood. Day 5, Saturday afternoon. Again, we're on weather watch for how the ground is going to go. It's obviously still pretty soft today, but before we get into this, Keels, what's the app saying?
There's pretty much nowhere in Britain that isn't going to get drenched tomorrow, and that certainly includes Goodwood, where it's going to chuck it down with rain first thing in the morning. The ground is going to end up being like it was on Wednesday, I'm afraid. So, soft ground horses only.
Okay, there we go. Let's move on then to the Stewards Sprint, the consolation race for the big one tomorrow. Speaking of soft ground horses, we've got Zaman Jamil comes into this off the back of a fast ground Thirsk win at 3-1. Monsieur Cody 6-1. Just Call Me Pete 8s. Capote's Dream 8s. Count Otto 9s with Live in the Moment 9s. Many a Star 12s. Under the Twilight is 12-1. And then we've got Music Society, Giza Sub, Cooperation, Royal Parade, Mamilius and Temple Brewer making up the field here. But the market, Paul, headed by the unexposed 3-year-old who comes from a yard in form. Was a really impressive winner last time out at Thirsk, pulling out plenty under pressure. Ryan Moore is booked in the saddle. But again, that was 6 furlongs on fast ground at a very different kind of race. He's only raced once on anything even resembling soft, so we don't know he won't handle it, but he's priced up on that good to firm win.
Yeah, he's priced up with a win. It was impressive. It's funny enough, Roger Charlton was talking about selling him afterwards to make a quick profit, but they decided to come here instead. He showed a fair amount on good to soft last year, but it's not going to be anything like it was, like it's going to be tomorrow. And he is a 3-year-old against these battle-hardened older sprinters. There aren't actually that many who act on soft ground. No, I've counted 5 that I would be interested in. Monsieur Cody, Capote's Dream, and bigger prices: Music Society, Giza Sub, and Cooperation. But the 2 I've backed are Monsieur Cody, who is just a very, very much in-form horse. Last 3 runs of his life that he's had have been the best of his life, all on easy ground. And Capote's Dream has just dropped like a stone through the handicap. Hasn't been running that badly in relation to his current mark recently. Staying on last time against Equiano Springs on good ground. You could argue he's slightly better on good than he is on soft, but he was rated 89 at this stage last year. He wouldn't even have got into this race. It'd have been rated too high. It'd have squeezed into the Stewards Cup and dropped £13 since then. He's got to have a big chance.
Okay, so a couple against the favourite then in the Stewards Sprint. What about you, Tom Segal? 30-second sprint countdown for you. Anything stand out?
Not really. I won't be having a bet in a race like that. It's sort of like a Beverley race on a Tuesday, isn't it? But Zaman Jamil has to be taken on, doesn't he? Could easily win, but he's got a penalty, different ground, so 3-1 was penny short enough. I liked Capote's Dream and at a bigger price, Music Society. Keels made the case out for Capote's Dream, perfectly there, so we all know why he can win. I just thought Music Society wasn't far behind Zaman Jamil at Thirsk. That was on fast ground. He's got a very good record over 6 furlongs on soft ground. I think he's £8 better off. And he ran very well in this race a couple of years ago when trapped wide on the wing. I think it was in stall 1 or 2. And Mr. Wagyu won it up the stands rail. So at a big price, I'd throw Music Society as a horse that can hit the frame. But this really isn't my type of race.
Fair enough. The one that interested me a little bit was Many a Star, who has only last year's winner, who's incredibly well handicapped. Now, on the face of it, he's never faced proper testing ground, but his half-brother Mission to Mars won yesterday, was it? I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? At Goodwood in soft ground as well. Tongue tie on, dropped like a stone through the handicap. Came off the back of a break, ran deplorably at Epsom, but was never going. York's not his track either, but he won this, and then he finished second to a well-handicapped horse on good to soft last year. He was 3-1 for this last year. He's 14-1. If he handles conditions, which is a big if, I thought he was a bit big.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he likes Goodwood, doesn't he? I think Keels nearly added a touch in this race last, didn't he, with some 50-1 shot? But he did manage to stave him off. I totally agree. I mean, it's live in the moment's another one, isn't it? Back on soft ground. His best form was on soft ground a few years ago. He's been another one that's been dropping in the stone and looks right out of form, but he could bounce back. There's plenty in this. Look, it's one of those races where you've got to take on the favourite 3-1, haven't you? On different ground, and with the penalty, there's about 4 or 5 others that you could fancy, and I expect Keels to be on the right one because he's in such great form. So I'm hoping Capote's Dream wins, because that's the one. I like Music Society and Capote's Dream. Okay,
there you go. Lewis, any extra places for this? I think we need at least one, if that's not too much to ask.
Go on, Ross. I'll give you one extra place. So you can have 4 places each way on this race. The early money was for Kevin Ryan's Giza Sub. That one 16th from 25. So plenty of each way money around for that one. And a horse that Tom mentioned there, Live in the Moment for Alice Haynes, was the one I liked. Best form on soft ground. And as a jockey, I didn't know a lot about Sharik Mode claiming the 7. But when I had a look, 26% strike rate on the turf, so he can clearly ride, and good value for the 7. So I liked Alice Haynes' horse in this one.
Okay, he given Mason a couple of decent rides for the yard this year. But I think kind of echoing what we think. Where are we? Fezzy Max said, you couldn't pay me to have a bet in this race. I mean, it does look a bit of a nightmare, doesn't it? But Zaman Jamil 3-1. 2 against the field for you though, Keels?
Yeah, Capote's Dream and the other one whose name I can't remember at the moment because I've already moved on to the next race.
Okay.
I reckon... it's your Cody, Keels. Even I remember.
That's him.
There you go. Lovely stuff.
What I was going to say, though, is I bet you...
Sorry, this is what happens when no one comes into the studio. It's just 3 men shouting over each other. What were you saying, Tom?
The bloke who just said you couldn't pay him to have a bet, he's lying. Because if I paid him and he had to have a bet, he'd definitely have a bet.
Fair enough. But no one's paying him to have a bet, so gamble responsibly and skip the first race if you don't fancy it. Moving on then, very different proposition for the second race on day 5 of Glorious Goodwood, the Coral Summer Handicap. Ain't going to feel particularly summery, I don't think. Sweet William is 9-4. Adjuvant 7-1. HMS President is 7-1. He's a Lachico 15-2. Omniscient 9-1. Post Impressionist 10. Splendent 12-1. Mr Curiosity is 16-1, and it is bigger price as the rest. Farthest Mile and 6 Handicap, where again we have a very short price favourite in terms of what we've got in this race. It looks wide open, but Sweet William is very popular. After those 2 wins, bolting up at Doncaster and then bolting up at Newbury up to 2 miles. Still looks well handicapped on its novice form as well. Again, very much like the favourite in the first though, Tom. The question mark is the ground. On the upside, Sweet William's dam was a proper mudlark, so should handle it, but you're just not getting... You're getting a lot more juice in the ground than you are the price, put it that way.
Yeah, he was really impressive the other day, and I don't think the handicap mark will stop him. It's just a question of whether he's going to run, because if the Gosdens are targeting the Ebor, I don't know if you get a double penalty for the Ebor. I don't know. Keels might, but if they're targeting that, then he'll probably will run. If they're targeting the Cesarewitch at the end of the season, they probably won't. So. It's just a question of how bad the ground gets for him. I mean, the Gosdens are very wary of running sort of horses like that that they think have got a big target at the end of the season in bad ground. If he does run, I think he's got a very good chance. He was clearly incredibly impressive, but it's going to be totally different ground, isn't it? I mean, at the start of the week, I was quite interested in Omniscient because I thought he ran such a good race in the plate. looked like he was going to win 2 or 3 furlongs out. I'm not convinced that was the greatest plate ever run. It doesn't look right, the plate on the all-weather, and that never has for me. But I thought he had a chance. But if the ground is as bad as it's potentially going to get, then I thought the 3-2 that I was going to concentrate on were he's a Lazio, who's by Fast Company. Doesn't actually have that much form on soft ground, but his sire has a great record on it. Post-Impressionist, who was sort of a big drifter, as though he wasn't going to win the plate, but he was sort of they were sort of making umming and ahhing noises about him being very good. His dam, Island Ramid, her name was, absolutely loved heavy ground. And the other one would be Mr. Curiosity, who just beat a good horse last time on soft ground and stays the trip. Mr. Curiosity beat Chillingworth, didn't he? Who'd run so well at Royal Ascot. And he's getting on a bit, Mr. Curiosity, but he's still quite unexposed. So they were my 3. It's not a race I would be too keen on until I know what's happening with Sweet William, really, because I think potentially he's probably going to win group races in time. But if he turns up, he'll and they think he'll handle the ground, and I think he'll probably win. But at the prices, you got to take him on, and they were my 3.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as you say, Keels, though, always worth backing them before, because you are in favour with the Rule 4 rather than waiting for the reform market. But yeah, for you to pick up from Tom there. Yeah, he's a Latico. Yeah, he was very impressive at Sandown, wasn't he? The only time he has run on soft ground, Tom, was in a novice hurdle at Kempton, and he finished behind Rare Edition, didn't he? And I think everything won out of that race later on in the season. Yeah,
apart from Rare Edition, unfortunately, because I kept back in Rare Edition.
Yeah, apart from Rare Edition, to be fair, who... I mean, he didn't win, but he ran a couple of blinders, didn't he? And Post-Impressionist, like you said, 2 runs on softish ground last year. He could have won both of them if he wouldn't been put through the rail. But there's some old friends in here as well, Keels. HMS President, the age of 6, form of his life.
He is in the form of his life, isn't he? Yeah, he just keeps running well. I mean, it's career best after career best since he went to Alan King. So, you can never rule him out. He's won on soft ground. He won at Newmarket on soft ground earlier in the season. Trainer seems to believe he's better on faster ground, but there isn't much in it on his best form. So you'd expect him to run well. I mean, it is, like Tom said, it probably is all about Sweet William. Now, his dam was a mudlark. She's already produced Hurricane Lane and wanted a bit of cut. Thady Gosden is quoted as saying he won't mind any juice in the ground. So I'd imagine there's no doubt whatsoever about him running, and he's gonna go close. But I mean, I've seen too many short prices get chinned in these the really big handicaps at York this year, and this is another one at £100 grand prize money. So I've backed something else, and I did like the look just at the prices of Mr. Curiosity. That was the one who grabbed me because he does stay really well. He's a right slogger. He's going to need a slogger to win this race tomorrow. So he was the one for me, and he's a Latico. Was the other one that was on my list. I'm pretty sure he'll be very happy on soft ground. And he's just in the form of his life. He just keeps winning very, very easily, albeit very low marks over hurdles. But I think he's pretty decent.
Yeah, so do I a little bit. He, the horse who finished 7th, Sea Houses, was the horse I was really following, and he ran a blinder the other day behind True Legend, who ran a blinder today. I do think that Sandown form is good, and Gary Moore, Jim Crowley at Goodwood ain't a bad combination here. But Sweet William, the big decision will be whether he runs. Rab Havlin will be pretty frustrated, Lewis. He keeps getting jocked off the ones he wins for Frankie riding. When he gets a big chance at a festival, there's doubts over his participation.
Yeah, he won't be too happy, will he? But no, I think he'll run. I think the vibes are that he'll run, and he's been very solid in the market today. Was 11-4, now into 9-4. So yeah, pretty solid in the betting. One we've seen quite a lot of early money for is the veteran Torcello. He'll obviously be at home on the testing ground. So he was 33s this morning, now backed into 22s, and does continue to shorten. So yeah, some good each money around there. And just another boost to flag here. So we've got Ross Brierley, who rides HMS President here. He's got a ride in each of the 7 races. So we're going to boost him to ride two or more winners, 2-5-2 from 2-1. So yeah, he's got a solid chance here with HMS President, and him and Adjuvant very closely matched on the form from Newmarket earlier in the year. So yeah, they would be probably interesting ones against the favourite.
Okay, plenty of opinions of the Coral Summer Handicap. Tom, tell us what's on the final shortlist.
My final shortlist are probably the same as 3 I've got. He's a Lazio, Post Impressionist, Mr. Curiosity. I will have to back Mr. Curiosity at 16-1 for sure, and I'll probably have a few quid on Lachio as well.
Okay, he's a Lachio and post-impressionist for me, I think. Mr. Kealy?
Yeah, the one I backed is Mr. Curiosity, but I'll be saving on he's a Lachio as well.
Okay, lovely stuff. As for those in the chats, what have we got here? Anyone fancy Tides of War each way for Racing Demon, for David Simcock and Andrea at Zini. Interesting angle. We've already seen Victory Hay colours carried on a big winner, of course, this week. And that's about it. Again, first 2 races tomorrow at Goodwood. Not too many opinions, and that's for sure. I think a few people might be out for a walk until 2:45 at the very least. But hopefully they'll be back for the 3 o'clock, the Lillie Langtry Stakes. A Group 2 for the fillies and mares over 1 mile and 6 furlongs in again. Another favourite taking a decent chunk out of the market. I mean, if these are all out of the frame, the play spot's going to pay a bomb, or the favourite backers on a Saturday will be notching up lucky 15s and lucky 31s all over the shop. But it's Free Wind at 6-5, River of Stars 4-1, Time Lock 11-2, Louisa Cassati is 7-1, Peripatetic is 10, Sumo Sam 16s with Gara, and Davina Grace is 66-1 outsider of the bunch. This is a race that the Gosden team have done well with in the past few years. California and Enbehar have given them 3 wins, and they don't always have a runner in this either. But 3 wins already. Let favourite backers down on a big Saturday at Royal Ascot, though, at Keels. Very, very different proposition that day, though, against the Colts over 1.5 miles on fast ground at Ascot. It's almost as if they had grand ambitions at Royal Ascot, and then it didn't work out, and they've kind of, I don't know, stepped back a little bit with her. What do you make of her? 6-5, Free Win back against her own sex.
Well, I mean, for one, she was only beaten 3 lengths in a Hardwick. 2, this is a Group 2, and it's worth 300 grand, and it's against fillies only. So I mean, why not take a step back for it? I mean, she's the absolute clear form horse in the race. She bolted up at Haydock on very bad ground, but performed miracles really, considering the amount of interference she suffered. So. Yeah, she's going to be extremely hard to beat. I'd have thought. I can't find a reason to oppose her anyway. I thought odds against was pretty good. I might be tempted to put the other Gosden one in the forecast with Agawa. Doesn't really have much form, but by the same token, Gosden Yard are incredible when it comes to first-time hoods. Got a 33% strike rate. In the past year or so, and whenever they put them on, you have to take notice. I mean, I've almost started backing them blind, but I don't see how she beats Free Wind. So I just think she'll win. I think she should be odds on, to be honest.
Okay. Is there a chink in her armour, Tom? I mean, again, whenever you've got a favourite like this, I always try and go through and find a reason to oppose her. She often runs in kind of stop-start fiddly little races. Is there a possibility that this could be a bit tactical, or is she just too good for them?
Well, it's a step up in trip as well, isn't it? The 1 mile and 6. If it gets tactical, I think she'll have too much speed for them anyway, won't it? I think that'll suit her probably. I would think the worry for her is if it turns into a slog. I'm reading the quotes now, and Lady Gosden's saying that he hopes the ground doesn't get too soft for her tomorrow. So over 1 mile and 6 in the mud, I think that would be the way to get her beat rather than mucking about with tactics. Like Keel said, she's miles the best on form, miles the best. And even on her Hardwick form, I think she should win this. I don't think any of these could have got anywhere near Pile Driver, whatever the ground was. So I think she'll win. I think if there is one that could bust her up, it's probably Louisa Cassati, who won a good race here in soft ground earlier in the season. She will definitely stay the trip. She'll definitely like any rain that falls. And Richard Kingscote was interviewed on the telly the other day, and he said, which horse are you looking forward to most? And it was this one. He said she's been trained specifically for it. The more rain that falls, the better. And he thought she'd run really well. So she'd be my alternative, but I do think she's got her work cut out to beat Free Win. Okay.
Yeah, Free Win then 6-5 here. If there are dead 8 runners, I'm half tempted to have a little tickle on Sumo Sam each way. 1 run in soft ground, and it was by far the best. Second in the Pretty Polly. I know Running Lion has let that form down, but let the form down because she had a nightmare at Epsom and didn't go in the stalls, and then I think off the back of that, sending her to France next time out was maybe a bit of a big ask. So I don't think things have necessarily gone to plan for her, but she's from the family of Staghorn and, all these really strong stayers, and a lot of soft ground form in there as well. And in fact, looking at it, that's the second Paul and Oliver Cole horse I've tipped in 3 races at Goodwood. So they better have a good day tomorrow. But give me any hope on Sumo Sam hitting the frame?
Definitely. On pedigree-wise, she'll love the ground. At the start of the season, they definitely thought she was going places. And yes, she'll stay the trip. She'll like the ground. Just a big step up in it. She's rated 94, and Free Wind is rated 115. So I know she's getting stone, but she needs to be getting 2 stone.
Yes, yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way I could back that back. But no, you're absolutely right. Apart from the fact that heavy ground at Goodwood might well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Might well mix things up.
That's the level up.
But Lewis, your price boost worked wonders today with Highfield Princess, and you think Free Wind. You're a man of the people, as you were saying.
Yeah, definitely, and a bit worried that the guys are quite confident in her because, as I say, it might be the end of me. But yeah, Free Wind boosted to 11 to 8, and yeah, she's very solid, isn't she? We are seeing money for Gara, the other Gosden filly. Obviously, I know what Keels was saying about the Hood. I think quite a few people are onto that with the Gosdens with the Hood. So she's been back from 25s into 16s early, so lots of each way money around for her. But I just thought Time Lock was worth taking a chance. I think the step up in trip's the key for her, and she's a Frankel filly out of a Dubawi mare, so bred to be smart, and hopefully she can show that tomorrow.
Yeah, she hasn't had many opportunities on soft ground. Mimikyu's a fair old tool and beat her, so yeah, she looked a little bit one pace, but mile and 6 on soft ground could well help. But Keels, the Lillie Langtry, any angle?
Free Wins odds against. I just think that's good enough. She's never stopping at the end of her races, so I think she'll see it out fine and win.
Okay, Tom.
No, I think Free Wind to win. Louisa Casati, if I have a bet, it'll be a forecast on those 2.
Okay, yeah, and if there's 8 runners, I'll take Sumo Sam each way. But so far, getting the feeling, Keels, it's not as much of a punting card as the rest of the week, or have you got some up your sleeve for the rest of the card? Just a little bit of a teaser for the viewers.
Well, I've already backed 4 horses in the first 2 races, to be fair. I think I'm doing all right.
Fair enough. To be fair, that's half of what you'd normally have lined up in a couple of big races.
There's more to come, trust me. I've got love back loads tomorrow.
It is Saturday, after all. It is Saturday. Right, let's move on then to the big one tomorrow, the Coral Stewards Cup. Just the 28 of them right now. But Orazio finds himself at the top of the betting again, like he was in the Wokingham, like he was at Ascot before that as well. And Charlie Hills and Jim Crowley with an unexposed sprinter drawn low in the Stewards Cup off a big weight. It worked for Cardem, and you only had to wait 4 years for him to win a Group 1, so who knows? Orazio could be winning at Royal Ascot in 2026, but it's 5-1 for the Stewards Cup tomorrow. Bielsa is 11-1, Apollo 1 14s, Ali's Dancer 14s, Mr. Wagyu 14s, Al Bashir 14s, King's Lynn 14s, Summergand 14s. I think someone's just copied and pasted the price for that. Oh no, 16-1 for Rumstar, Sterling Knight, Juan Lapan, Tan Maui, chairman of the board. Amarama Gold is 18s with Mums Tipple and Badgery. I think you have to get the percentage calculator out here, but it's 20-1 Spanish Star significantly, 22-1 Came from the Dark, 25's Vintage Clarets, and bigger prices the rest here for the Stewards Cup then. Right, let's go to you, Keels, because this is a punting race for sure, and interesting that when the draw was done earlier in the week, Orazio came out fairly early. They were keen on picking a low number, and like I said, it worked wonders for Cardem a few years ago, and Orazio still has time on his side.
Yeah, it did work wonders. It was funny because everybody else who came out early wanted to go higher. And when they saw what happened in the first race on the day, they must have thought, oh my word, what have we done? Because they all stayed over the far side. The last time it was really, really soft ground early in the week at Goodwood. They completely ignored the near side in the Stewards Cup. The entire field went over there. There did seem to be a difference of opinion this afternoon in one of the races, but it was still a low drawn winner. And I just think Charlie Hills did his own work, and most of the others didn't. He's very keen on a low number. He had a low number for Tamari as well, so it wasn't a case of picking one either side. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. And he's got a horse who I think he probably is at least a Group 2 horse in the making on soft ground, which he's going to get. And I think that's what did. He was, he went off 7-2 favourite for Awoken, and when Connection really, really worried about the ground, and he's off the same mark and a bigger price on the ground. So I can't get away from having a bet on him. I think that whatever you fancy, you've got to have a save on him, because he's got all marks of you get every now and again. And in fact, the last winning favourite was, and his previous winner, Magical Memory, in 2015, also favourite. And I think this one might be the same again. I had back one other in the race. That's chairman of the board. I nibbled in when it dawned on me that he was actually going to get in.
Yeah, I think we've lost you there, Keels. It's all right. Biggest handicap of the week, and who do we want to go to? Poor Kealy. Unfortunately, that 56k modem down in Bognor Regis has failed us a little bit. So you might have to do more than 30 seconds on a sprint handicap here, Tom.
Oh hell! All the other members of the Bognor Regis Massive have logged on at the same time, haven't they?
It's they've all logged on to watch what's the 6:35 from Galway, whatever that is. Everyone's logged on to watch if Emmett Mullins can win another big race. But yeah, let's pick up what Keels was saying. Orazio, things didn't go to plan at Ascot under very different conditions, but he looked a bit of a monster at Newmarket and Ascot, didn't he? And he's got absolutely ideal conditions tomorrow. Obviously, draw is going to play a part. I'm still having nightmares about Great Ambassador running a blinder from box 7 a few years ago and becoming a listed/group horse. So it could well be a negative for him. But any others in here that could be ahead of their mark or will relish conditions? Mr. Wagyu, of course. 3 sprinters, 3 winners for the Quinn team. He's interesting.
Yeah, plenty of interesting ones on the... I mean, I'm with Keels. I don't think you can bet without Orazio, because I think if there's one horse that is going to be running in proper group races, doing cardems and things like that, it'll be him. So I think the 5-to-1's perfectly fair. I mean, we're talking, sometimes we sit around these horses saying we've got to take them on. They're like, 2-1, 9-4. 5-to-1's perfectly reasonable price for him. I think they'll come up the middle to the far side. I think the middle will be fine tomorrow. So I'm not too worried about where you're drawn, because I think the jockeys will all congregate to the middle to the far side. So not a problem. I thought Ali's Dancer was quite interesting from stall 2. He's got some good soft ground form if it turns soft. And the other one I thought would run well, there's 2 I thought could run well at really big prices. The first one was Charlie Fellows' horse, Gorak, who was first home on his side in the Buckingham Palace and then was beaten about 5 lengths in the, what's it called? The 7 furlong race at Newmarket, Bunbury Cup next time. I always think 7 furlong form is like miles better than 6 furlong form. I always think that 7 furlong form and a mile races, handicaps, you get William Haggis, John Gosden, Michael Stout, Charlie Appleby running horses in them. And in these races, you get the old handicappers, because you can't get in if you're any good. And so you get a load of old handicappers. So I like horses coming down in trip. I especially like horses coming down in trip that like soft ground. So while he's right at the top of the weights, and I think he's probably £5 too high, I do think Gorak could run well on very heavy ground. But the other one I've backed is Sterling Knight for Ed Dunlop, simply because his win, he was very impressive in heavy ground one day at Haydock last season. He loves soft ground. And I just thought he's by Camelot, believe it or not. You wouldn't expect him to be running in a sprint handicap like this. And I'm pretty sure the team there didn't think he'd ever get in a Stewards Cup. But he's going to get in, and he's going to have his perfect conditions. He's drawn right next to some speedy horses like Juan Lapan. He's not far from Mr. Wagyu. And I just thought if the ground got really soft, it's going to suit him. He's, as I say, he won at Haydock last year in very heavy ground, and he's run really well twice at Windsor. He won pretty easily 2 starts ago, and then last time he ran fine. It was just the ground was too quick, and 2 horses got away from him, and he couldn't quite peg them back. But if it got really soft, I think Sterling Knight will go well. I also thought Gorak had a huge price, but I mean, if you're asking me who I think is going to win, I think Orazio will win, and I don't think it will be that close.
Okay, fair enough. Worth mentioning that Ed Dunlop's had 4 runners today, Tom. One got beat at short head, the other 3 have won. So they're in absolutely rollicking form. Turner Girl yesterday as well, Damascus Steel. Haunted Dream got touched off on the line as well. So whatever Ed Dunlop's doing at home, and he's working, that's for sure. A few others interested me. One was Mum's Tipple, who ran an absolute blinder over 7 here at this meeting, Keels, last year. Only horse in the first 10 home who had no course form. Was on the bridle with a furlong to go and didn't get home. I think 6 furlongs this track, soft ground, is perfect. And I've had a little tickle on Tactical as well. Julie Camacho has got a fantastic record with Windops. First time out over the past 12 months. It worked with significantly. And Tactical won the Windsor Castle, won the July Stakes as a 2-year-old. Very well handicapped on his old sprint form.
Yeah, it could be. There's another one who's very well handicapped on the old sprint form as well, and that's Al Bashir, on his 2-year-old form anyway. And he wasn't beaten far in the Wokenham, and then he was on the wrong side of the colour last time when well backed over 6.5 furlongs. He could well be on the wrong side again, though, because he's in 25. And the other one I had backed as chairman of the board. I started nibbling at him when I got wind that he might actually get in. Because he's rated only 89, and that wouldn't have been good enough for the last 2 years. In fact, he didn't get in the last 2 years, but he was 5th to Summergan 3 years ago off a £6 higher mark on very fast ground that day. He actually has slightly better form on soft ground, so I think he'll go well. He's a 7-year-old, but you know, some of these big handicaps are starting to get won by older horses these days. And of course, the last time it was really soft ground, it was a 7-year-old who won, Lancelot de la.
Okay, so quite a few against the other field, as you would expect in this sort of race. As for others, a couple. Rob Dixon and Fezzy Mac also thought Tactical was as interesting. Music Mike says hello from Bognor. It's Music Mike. He's causing the problem. He's booted up Netflix. It's causing a bit of havoc. As for the others, Mike Boy says King's Lynn only wins when you're not looking. And what else have we got in here? Mum's Tipple to cheer me up, says Racing Demon. And Mr. Wagyu only wins in June and July, says Tom Leach. Well, don't tell him, he's only a few days late. So didn't he win he won the consolation a few years ago. That must have been the end of July, I guess.
Yeah, it was in July.
Yeah, it was. So does he go off 6 weeks holidays, is it, for Mr. Wagyu?
Yeah, 24 hours is no good to him, Ross.
Yeah, he says, what month is it? What month is it? August? Not bothered.
It is quite an amazing stat, though. I mean, you have seen it, haven't you? I mean, in June or July, he's won 34 times in June and July, and he's won 15 of them, and he hasn't won in any other month in 15, 21, 30, 40 odd starts.
Has anyone told him that the Goodwood dates are a bit weird this year, though, or is he? Has anyone told him? Would he listen? I don't know.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
I'm just trying to see how many times he's actually run in August. But 28th of July just snuck in back in 2020. 31st of July it was 2021. He was leaving that one late. Oh my God. Yeah,
I'm wondering, do you think he gets up on the following day after the 31st of July and says, do you know what? If that race had been run like just a few hours later, I was not going to try an inch.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he probably does. He goes, look, like I said, look, he's Italian. He goes, look, I take August off, all right, when I go to the beach, like everyone else.
Ask your mate next year, Ross. He'll tell you.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, what is this? Is this a thing? What's your favourite month? Oh, really? Christmas horse, are you? Lovely stuff. Right, okay. Lewis Knowles, what's your favourite month?
Well, my birthday's in October, so I'd have to go October. You like presents, don't you? So yeah, we could go for October.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So you're a Halloween guy. I understand. What have you got for the big race tomorrow? Then the Coral Stewards Cup. Surely you've got price boosts and extra places and all sorts of gifts and presents. It might be your birthday if you back the winner of this tomorrow.
Yeah, I come bearing gifts here. So we're going 6 places each way. So yeah, 6 places each way on the Stewards Cup. I heard Tom say as well that he thought Orazio was going to win comfortably, potentially. So that tees me up nicely for our boost. So we're going in the Stewards Cup and the Stewards Sprint. Both races to be won by over a length is 7-2 from 3-1. So yeah, nice boost there. And nobody's mentioned the winner here, which is Spanish Star. This one's just sort of smacks you in the face, I think. Ran 7 times over course and distance and won 5 times. But most of his 10 wins have come on soft ground, so he liked the conditions, and he's drawn 17 as well. And I think the last 3 winners have come from 19, 23 and 17. So, yeah, he'll do for me at 20-1. I think he's a good bet with the 6 places.
Yeah, and he's 3 from 8 in October as well, Lewis. So it's his favourite month at all. I went incredibly. That was incredibly northern. That I don't know where that came from. It's the most northern I've gone. It's all a ploy. This. It's just a broadcasting voice. But all right. So Spanish Star, what price?
20-1. Yeah, 20-1, which is nice. I thought it'd be 10-1 or something when I looked, because I looked at him before I'd even looked at the betting, and I was quite happy when I saw 20s.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough then. So reiterate, Keels, you're having a combination TriCast, I imagine, but you've backed a few.
I'll be doing the exactas and TriCast. That's the sort of thing I do anyway. But yeah, I think Horatio is going to take the world of beating. I've backed chairman of the board, and I may well have a couple of quid also on Al-Bashir.
All right, yeah, Al-Bashir, who's he's got tons of ability, hasn't he, Al-Bashir? He just seems to make life incredibly difficult for himself. But I'll go Horatio, Mum's Tipple, and Tactical for the top, middle, or bottom. What was that quiz show again? Now, Tom, I'm getting old here.
Top, middle, or bottom.
Strike It Lucky. Was it Strike It Lucky?
There you go. It was Strike It Lucky. It
there
was, yeah. Go. Top, middle, or bottom of the market for me. Tom?
Well, I think Horatio will win. The 2 I will. I probably won't combine them come back to the TriCast or whatever Keels does, because I'll be watching Reading lose to Peterborough. But Gorak, and the other one was Sterling Knight, because I think they'll both love heavy ground. It's got to rain for me to back them there.
Okay. That reminds me, actually. Someone asked me earlier, where's your season ticket in the Reading Stadium? I mean, people have been on the lookout for you, Tom. I
don't have a season ticket. I'm a member, so me and my son go dot around, but we go every match, and we often go away as well. So you will see us there.
Okay. So you like to keep people guessing.
I don't like the problem with season tickets, Ross, as you well know. You probably don't know, but as someone as uninterested in other people as I am, you don't want to get stuck next to someone you cannot stand for a whole season. I've done that before. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, that does remind me, because I used to have a season ticket at Hillsborough back when I was a teenager, and it didn't cost $5,000 or whatever it was. There was definitely some... Everyone had a nickname. Everyone had a personality. You'd have a big list of it. You'd be like, "Oh God, he's here again. Oh no, oh God." And they probably said the same about me as well, Tom. But
you know what I mean? You got to. Well, look, there'll be no one there anyway. It's Reading at the end of the day, so I can sit where I like.
Boring. Racing program. Come on, get on with it.
The Keel's boring along.
What's happening in the cricket, Ross? Are you watching the cricket, the 100 at the moment? What's going on?
I'm not, no. But Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton tonight. Return of the Football League. Anyway, okay, the Stewards Cup there, 3:35. If you are watching, of course, do make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you do like, we'll get Keels along to a Reading match with Tom Segal.
Absolutely not whatsoever.
400 likes. 400 likes! And Paul Kealy will go to see a Reading match.
There's absolutely no chance I'm taking him to a Reading match.
Right, 3 more races to go of Glorious Goodwood 2023. The 7 furlong handicap is up next at 4:10 tomorrow. Sophia's Starlight 4-1, Thunderball 9-2, Chartwell House 9-2, New Business 9-2, Urban Sprawl 5-1, Captain Cuddle 7-1, Alpha Capture is 9-1, Scholarship the outsider of the bunch at 10-1. This is incredibly tightly knit for the 3-year-olds, Tom. And the first thing I looked at here was Sophia Starlight is, front runner. New Business, front runner. Okay, Thunderball, front runner. Chartwell House has made all, his penultimate start. Urban Sprawl's a front runner. Is this going to be one of those races where we think they're going to go a mad gallop and something gets an easy lead out of nowhere, or are they going to all collapse in the final furlong?
Absolutely no idea, Ross. Think of a more boring race in the history of races than the 7 furlong handicap. I don't know. Look at it. It's like, look, can I claim the 5th and pass on this one? I have literally no idea what's going to happen. I don't even know what the ground's going to be. Listen, if I was to play, it would be the Night of Thunder, Horse Thunderball for your mates, Paul and Ollie Cole. Maybe they'll have a treble, but look, it's not a race I have literally looked at or have any interest in.
Fair enough. Over to you then, Paul Kealy. This is usually the kind of race I get excited. I love a 3-year-old handicap, but I mean, this looks difficult.
I didn't think it looked that difficult. Actually, I think Sapphire Starlight will win. We've already seen one horse run second here this week, and then come out and win next time at the track in Novus. And I think Sapphire Starlight, she slipped saddle really early in that race, did remarkably well to finish second. Obviously in great form, goes with a bit of cut in the ground. I think she'll go very well. The other one I half was interested in when it was a much bigger price, but it does seem to have been back to Scholarship. 3 shockers lately, but is only £1 higher than when winning on very soft ground at Newbury earlier in the season, and could go well at a price, but it has, pretty much halved in price that it was earlier on in the week.
Yeah, I think that's probably because they looked at it and I thought it's the only hold-up horse in the entire field, I think, and maybe back that each way. But
and there isn't that much soft ground form, is there? So
no. The one that'll annoy me a bit is Chartwell House, who looked a bit of a monster at Haydock and ran into Ramazan last time out, Keels. But again, the one run was on terrible ground at Newmarket, and nothing worked out at all on that day. But it's just hard, isn't it, with these horses when you haven't seen them much on soft ground? It's hard to be so sure that they won't enjoy it.
I didn't get any of that, mate. You completely broke up.
Oh, that's fine. All I can say is it was...
Ross, I enjoyed it.
Really insightful, wasn't it? Yeah.
What do I do? Yes or no?
Yeah, fair enough. Lewis, what did you think of what I just babbled for the last 30 seconds? And do you have an opinion on this 410?
Well, I looked at it for a while. I'm kind of with Tom here. This is not the type of race you'd be rushing to have a bet in. And I probably shouldn't say that working for a bookmaker, should I? So let me put my bookmaker's hat on. And I'm going to go with the horse that's named after you, Ross, Captain Cuddles, 7-1. I quite liked him. I thought, that's what I think that's what they call you on the street, Captain Cuddles. So yeah, I thought I'd go with him. His first 2 runs of the season were shockers, to be honest, but he bounced back to form last time, and I just thought off bottom weight, he could go well.
You texting my girlfriend? Honestly, 7-1 Captain Cuddles. All right, fair enough. Okay, Keels. The 410 at Goodwood?
Yeah, Sophia's Starlight, whatever it's called.
Okay, fair enough.
Over to the next race.
That's all right. I'll go for Chartwell House, and if Captain Cuddles wins, then it will definitely be my a new nickname from here on in. 2 more races to go then. 2023's Glorious Goodwood. Individualism is 9-4 favourite. Farthest 7 furlong Maiden. Devil's Point is 7-2. Stratocracy is 5-1. Miletus is 7-1. Persica 10s. Royal Supremacy 11. Celtic Warrior 11s. 12-1 Empire of Art. Bigger prices than the rest. Might be quite hard to find the winner in this, Tom Segal. But I tell you what, you're going to find some winners going forward because some good horses have won this. Most interestingly, given who's at the top of the betting, DXB a few years ago and owned by, of course, the same owner as Subjectivist. And Joe Fanning was absolutely livid. This horse got beat at Ayr on debut. 9-4 to go in second time.
Yeah, very well bred, and he's going to stay forever, isn't he? Too Darn Hot's making a very, very good name for himself. They're starting now. The 7 furlongs of races have come out. He's starting to have loads of winners. Obviously, the Charlie Braveheart said at the start of the week that this was his best chance of a winner. It might be his only chance of a winner the way that things are going. Him and me, Charlie Braveheart and me, blimey. But I thought Individualism was probably the one, but I don't think it'll be easy. I know there's a lot of word around for Devil's Point. Cost a lot of money for one of David. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, so I get it wrong every time. But one of his,
David Carpenter.
Sorry, the Carpenter. We'll call it Carpenter. The Carpenter David. What's his face? Devil's Point was interesting at Sandown. Very slowly away. I think the form isn't working out that well of that Sandown race, but I know the winner is very highly thought of, Star Law, and I think Devil. It's funny because. The Carpenter seems to run his best 2-year-olds there. He had Sunway run at Sandown as well, and Devil's Point started at Sandown. So Michael Stout certainly starts his best 2-year-olds at Sandown. Nostrum last year, Starlaw this. Don't know if they're their best ones, but they're definitely their good ones. So I think Devil's Point might be the one on the ground. Simply if he's by New Bay, they tend to like soft ground, Dubawi, I'm a big fan of New Bays. And I know there's plenty of others with group entries. Stratocracy has one, doesn't he? Ryan Moore for the Kipco team and Richard Hannon. 5-1 looks very short to me. That's suspiciously short, as though it's well fancied that for me. So I think, as you say, this will be a really good race. Race I'm most looking forward to tomorrow on the card easily, because it provides me with something to think about for the future rather than the old boys in the sprint handicaps. But I'll be watching it probably without betting. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Devil's Point, especially. I think he might beat the Charlie Braveheart horse.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The Foxes, Duke of Hazard, the XB, Dutch Connection, all group horses have won this Keels in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could be a decent race, couldn't it? There has been a bit of rumour going around for Stratocracy, who has a Champagne Stakes entry. Is by Inns of Court, who had plenty of winning form on soft ground. Has got a half sister that's winning on soft ground as well. So that's definitely an interesting one. I don't tend to get involved in these maidens. Not enough to go on, is there? But if you want a token selection, that'd be it.
Okay, there we go. And anything to entice us in the 4:45, Lewis?
Yeah, nice boost on this one if you like Stratocracy. So Richard Hannon runs 3 in it, so he's got Stratocracy, Perseeker, and Checkers Court as well. So if you can have Richard Hannon to train the winner of this race, is 5-2 from 2-1. But yeah, I'm with Tom. I think Devil's Point was the one I liked here. He ran well at Sandown last time amid some greenness, and I've heard a few whispers around for him. So yeah, he'll do for me at around 7-2.
Okay, yeah. The New Bay certainly improved for a run. Second time up, they got a fantastic record. Final race of Glorious Goodwood 2023 then is the Coral Handicap over a little bit further than 9 furlongs. Liberty Lane 11-2, Mostawar 7s, One Step Beyond 8-1, Fantastic Fox 9s, Skeptic 9s, Grania is 9s, Imperial Ace is 9s, Dual Identity is 10-1, and Keel's Liberty Lane representing Connections, who had a very impressive winner in the shape of Royal Rhyme earlier on in the week. And this horse, similar to Royal Rhyme, bolted up on soft ground and barely seen it since.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got you've got to think he's got a really, really good chance. Sometimes when the ground gets really deep, I'd rather back older horses, just because they're tougher. And I think there's 2 here, massive prices, to be honest. Great Gadian was a really, really good 6th in the Lincoln early in the season. Hasn't run so well since, but he's dropped £10 already. He's £10 lower than when 6 off 100 in the Lincoln. And running in a much, much weaker race, and there's a double figure price. And Old Dashing Roger, 6-year-old, very, very good form in the past. Rated as high as 104, down to 85. He actually showed on his second start this season that he's still got plenty of ability when finishing 3rd. And then they ran him last time. It was just a race that smacked of a prep for something, because they ran him in the Summer Mile at Ascot, a Group 2 race, when he had absolutely zero chance whatsoever. And William Stone has booked Connor Planis, who's a really good claimer, taking off £5. So he's effectively running off 80, and he's a 20 he's a 20-1 chance in places. I think it's a massive price.
Okay. Couple of big prices then in the 520 at Goodwood. Plenty have got chances in here. Tom, worth mentioning as well, since I last said that Ed Dunlop's last 3 winners have won, he's had another winner over at Musselburgh. So I think I'm going to back Arthur's Realm just on the fact that everything's going in left, right and centre. Any opinions from you?
Yeah, plenty. Totally agree with Keels about Great Gadian. It's not hard to see why he's going to run well, is it, after his run in the Lincoln? The other one I'd throw in there, it's a very similar case that Keels made for Dashing Roger, actually. It's for Grania of George Baker's. He was rated 104. He was 4th in the Balmoral Handicap a few years ago off 104, and now he's rated 183. He likes soft ground. He was a very, very good horse in France in his youth on soft ground. George Baker always targets one for this meeting. Always does it. This horse ran 5th in the race last year. That was on fast ground behind a Gero. I think that was a really good, high quality handicap. This one I'm not sure is quite as good. And I thought he'd run really well. He's back to form last time at Kempton, or he's back to winning ways at Kempton on the all weather. Have no doubt that this would have been the plan. He won by 4.5 lengths from a horse trained by Said Siror. And he likes soft ground. He's got a nice draw in 3. So they would be my 2. They're similar cases to Keels. They're just a slightly different horse with the second one. I'd go for Grania and Great Gadian.
Okay, Grania and Great Gadian then. for the final race of Glorious Goodwood. Grania and Great Guardian to win the last race at Glorious Goodwood. Lewis.
Yeah, 3 votes for Great Guardian here. I think one point the guys haven't mentioned is it was terrible ground, wasn't it, in the Lincoln when he was plugging on 6th. And I think by 5:20 tomorrow at Goodwood, it'll be properly chewed up. So, yeah, I think he'll get through that fine. And he's been quite well backed. He was 18s earlier and now into 14s. So, yeah, another vote for Great Guardian. But we've got another boost here. So 2 of our ambassadors take each other on. So Jim Crowley rides Dual Identity. And Hugo Palmer, who we now sponsor the yard at Manor House, he runs Imperial Ace. So we're going to go 6-1 from 5-1 that one of those 2 horses wins the lucky last year at Goodwood. But we are paying 5 places each way on this one as well. So, yeah, a race with a nice each-way feel to it.
OK, but general agreement that you're all going for the GGs, on the GGs in the last race at GG. OK, fair enough. I get it. OK. But we'll get the naps in a second. But quick wrap-up of the entire week. Tom Segal, in 30 seconds from you.
I enjoyed Galway.
Fair enough. And what about you, Gales?
Yes, mate, I've loved every minute of it. I've been backing winners every single day. It's brilliant, isn't it? Licensed to print money. I'm just going to finish off by saying hello to a friend of mine's 2 granddaughters, Freya and Darcy. Hello, Freya and Darcy. They think they'll be superstars on the telly now.
OK, lovely stuff. Hello, Freya and Darcy. And Dave Lowe's mum, any luck with the multiples?
Unfortunately, no, I can confirm that I have not had any luck with Dave Lowe's mum.
Nap's coming up in a second after this. Great stuff. What a lovely segue into the Breeders' Cup.
My breeding days are well over, mate.
Yes, I'm not even going to ask you if you've been gelded, but let's close off the week then.
I think I'm in danger of that here from Dave Lowe somewhere. No,
Hang on, right, okay. Naps of the week, final day, Glorious Goodwood, Paul Kealy.
Oh, let's go and blast one out, shall we? Dashing Roger in the last.
Dashing Roger, it is. Over to you, Tom.
Well, I think Orazio will win the Stewards Cup, so I'll stick with him. It's a bit boring, but 5-1's perfectly good price, I think.
OK, Orazio it is. Lewis?
Spanish Star in the Stewards Cup for me, so maybe we'll stick them in a forecast with Orazio for me and Tom. OK, fair enough. And I'm going to go for Paul and Oliver Cole to have at least one winner. Sumo Sam or Many a Star, both big prices. I settle for 2 of them. I'll set up with a big double. Anyway, it's been wonderful. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks everyone who came into the studio as well. Thanks everyone on the chat. It's been a weird and wonderful week at Glorious Goodwood, and we'll see you in a few more weeks for the Ebor meeting at York. Enjoy.